I like this design. We're going to have to get into some of the potential patent concerns in our midweek follow-up. Hey, Scott from mygrowthrings.com here. Here happens to be in my sister's basement once again, where I have a temporary shop set up. And in this video, we're going to address an issue that actually several people have commented on recent videos. For the last few videos, I've been using this machine back here, which is the Shopsmith Joint-Matic, which is a basically, you take a handheld router, you mount it to this horizontally, and it creates a joint making machine for making mortise and tenon joints and box joints and dovetails and things like that. But the comments have been about the poor dust collection I've been getting. And well, the first thing I said was, well, I'm not using a dust collector, actually. I'm using a shop vacuum. In this case, it's a Harbor Freight or Bauer brand 14-gallon shop vacuum. So while it's got great suction, it doesn't have tremendous airflow, just a fraction of the airflow of a dust collector. And then I said a lot of the joints I'm cutting actually on the exteriors. Like when you cut a tenon, you're cutting wood from around that tenon, and that bit's just going to fling the chips where it does. Well, as I watched the videos again and doing editing, I realized actually they're right. I'm getting terrible suction. So I double checked, and here's the problem. When a shop vacuum is being used for dry items, you use it with a pleated, somewhat paper filter. And as filters do, they get clogged. And the more they're clogged, the less suction you get. So it's just simply time to clean this, which isn't the end of the world. But the problem is with the fine things I'm producing here, fine dust, it's going to get clogged again, and I'm going to see a loss of suction. So it is in that vein that we are going to add today a couple separators. These things have been all the rage for 6 years, 8 years. They've been everywhere. You can build your own with a trash can or a 5-gallon bucket, or you can buy now commercially lids that replace the lid on your 5-gallon bucket or your trash can. And what it is a separator that goes ahead of the vacuum. So the vacuum never even sees the dust because it drops off beforehand. If you've seen these and wondered, well, what good are they? I mean, they only hold 5 gallons worth of sawdust. 5 gallons worth of sawdust is a lot of sawdust, and it's also super easy to empty as opposed to waiting for a 17-gallon shop vacuum to get filled, or in my case, a Shopsmith dust collector that holds about 35 gallons worth of sawdust. So the two separators that I have purchased and that we're going to give a try today is the Dustopper or Dust Stopper. I don't know how to pronounce it because neither is correct. Dustopper, a dust topper, or is it a duh stopper? So it's the stopper. And this simply goes right on top of a 5-gallon bucket. It is now the new lid for your 5-gallon bucket. This is sold by Home Depot, and it is in fact designed specifically to fit their Homer brand 5-gallon bucket. Now, there's some question about, do I have to have a Homer 5-gallon bucket? Can I use anybody's 5-gallon bucket? The odds are it'll fit. The issue seems to be the thickness of the bucket. The second separator that I purchased for us to try out is the brand new separator from Bauer. Bauer is a brand that belongs to Harbor Freight. And you can see, if I got a picture on here somewhere, there it is, that it mounts on top of a lid that then mounts to your 5-gallon bucket. Now, thankfully, the kit provides us with not only a lid for the bucket, but it's already pre-drilled for not only the unit, but also the bolts that hold it in place. And this kit comes with the hoses that we'll need and an adapter if you've got smaller hoses. It is designed to work with the standard 2.25 or 2.5 inch that's used by most shop vacuums, at least the larger shop vacuums. So, all right, so let's, before I open this, let's look at some of the attributes that are claimed on this package. Claims to eliminate frequent filter cleaning and loss of suction. To me, that loss of suction is the big one. By the way, there'll be some comments from people saying, hey, when I installed this, I immediately got less suction in my from my shop vac hose than before I installed it. Right. It is offering a little bit of resistance that isn't there when you're not using it, but you're going to find that it will operate at that level of suction from that point on. You're not going to have the loss that happens over time as your filter gets clogged. Connects to your wet dry vacuum in seconds. We'll see about that. No assembly required. Low profile design, fits almost any situation. And amazing separation efficiency, collects 99% of dirt and debris. All right, let's give this a try. It claims to attach without tools. So let's see what is in here. Okay. So there's the kit. You're seeing it as I'm seeing it. This is the hose that'll be used to connect this to the shop vacuum, and the hose that is on the vacuum is going to go into this. That will continue to be used on tools and floor wands and such. Comes with 2 elbows. Interesting. Those are what we call street elbows. If you don't know this about plumbing, where an elbow has a female gazinta and a male end that itself could go into this end if necessary, that's referred to as a street elbow. These are the things you learn on the streets. And we got some stuff, including some stickers. All right. And then here is the separator. This portion right here on the top is where the vacuum is going to be sucked, right? And this is the part that'll be the pickup from the hose that's currently attached to the vacuum. It's semi-translucent, so we'll be able to see if there are any clogs inside of here. But what makes this thing work is not only the cyclonic action of the debris going in and being thrown through centrifugal or centrifugal force against the sidewalls, but it will begin to enter this little slot right here where it can't get back up and out and enter the vacuum hose. Here's one of those things that people, if they're familiar with these systems, will recognize that looks very simple to the fine separator, which is a patented device that, well, those plans were provided for free on Mr. Fine's website. I'll link to those in the video description, and we'll talk in our midweek video about whether I think that that is in fact an infringement. Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm just a nerd. So this fits directly over the bucket, and it has a couple little connection points or snapping points, and we are there. You can't empty a 14-gallon trash can and then expect a 5-gallon bucket to hold all that dust. So we're now mostly empty here. The filter is mostly clean. We've got about 4.5 gallons worth of dust. And let's put this sucker together. And we do still have a little bit of debris that's non-dust down in this pile. I have some wire nuts and some things, dead bugs. But we're just going to go with it. Whoa. I think that's a pretty fair run. Now let's take a look. So we got a nice 3/4 full bucket. More importantly, though, I'm curious to see what bypassed the cyclone. And we have an empty bucket here, and we still have a clean filter. So that's not bad at all. Let's see what's involved in assembling the Bauer. A lot more parts. So it looks like we have a hose clamp. There's our hose that's going to go to the vacuum. The new lid for our 5-gallon bucket. Another hose clamp. The separator, instruction sheet, a little hardware package that's to bolt those onto the lid. And one thing that we won't be using today is this adapter for adapting to smaller size shop vac hoses. Now, I pulled up the instructions on the website. They have a download there, and there's really not much to it. Here you can see there's not even an assembly, there's not even a setup page. So if you go from the pictures on the box, that's the only guide that you get for how to connect it to your shop vacuum. But it's pretty much just a simple Cyclone. This section is bolted on, so I guess if we did have any clogs in there, we could disassemble it. How many bolts are we talking there? We're talking 8 small machine screws. Those might be sheet metal screws. All right, let's get this bolted on. Kind of surprised here that these are not nylock nuts, because I can see these nuts coming loose and getting lost in a vacuum. I guess they wouldn't get lost in the vacuum, would they? They'd get lost in a 5-gallon bucket. We'll remedy that. They only gave us 4 washers, so then the question is, well, does the washer go under the head of the bolt where it engages the plastic Cyclone, or does the washer go under the nut? Well, that washer, or that nut, is sort of a washer shape. So we're going to go ahead and put the washer under the head. And then we need to snug these up with a wrench. Well, that was pretty straightforward. It required an 8mm wrench to get that tight. Now, one comment that's already been placed over on the feedback or reviews at Harbor Freight is you might want to take yourself a piece of, let's say, 1/2 inch, 3/8 inch plywood and support this, because that's a pretty thin, loosey-goosey lid. For dust collection, does it matter? Maybe. I don't know. All right, so I've already encountered my first problem here, and that is the hose is designed to slip over something and then be secured with that hose clamp. I've got nothing to slip this over here. So I'm just going to shove that in. I'm guaranteed I'm going to be losing suction there for sure. But here's the next problem. This is designed to have a hose slip over it. So I need some kind of a coupling here. I don't think I can get this end off. I guess I probably could, but oh, might have to get some duct tape. So here's what I'm going to have to do, I think. I'm going to take that reducer that came with it, and I'm going to cut the shorter end off so that this will fit in here. That end will fit into the Cyclone. Thank goodness I have a bandsaw. Here's my finished part. Connect that to the end of the hose. And the Cyclone. All right, here we go. Oh. All right. So let's see what we have inside. That doesn't look like enough dust. Uh-huh. And there's the rest of our dust. So here's my concern about this. I suspect that running that on a tool that's producing dust is going to give us different results than trying to clean up a big pile of sawdust. But that said, the Dustopper did just fine cleaning up a big pile of sawdust. About half of that dust bypassed that Cyclone separator. So I'll continue to play with this. I suspect that my sister's going to get the Bauer one for her shop, and I'll stick with the Dustopper. Here's my other concern about this. Besides the fact that all the hose connections are a bit wonky here, um, and the fact that that's so light, the way you have to connect this and then remove it is ultimately going to stress that seal. So you'll be replacing that lid, where on the Dustopper, it's a much stronger plastic, and we do have a couple clipping connection points here. So I like this design. We're going to have to get into some of the potential patent concerns in our midweek follow-up. If you're watching this video and you try to find the midweek follow-up, those follow-up videos are public for 1 week, and then they become channel member only. So if you're curious about trying to find some follow-up video, that's what's going on. Channel members pay as little as $3 a month, which is certainly cheaper than a woodworking magazine subscription. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the video description for more info. All right, thanks for watching. Make it a great day.